The terms keep changing. First came global warming, next up climate change, in part because self-proclaimed conservatives in government preferred a slow, linear approach that screams, "We can handle this situation," over the scary-sounding exponential change associated with outcomes such as irreversibility and tipping points already passed. Another reason climate change was employed was because climate scientists recognized that a global increase in Earth's temperature produced regional or local cooling as a result of overall planetary warming. By this time, anthropogenic or human-caused climate change had joined the commonly used lexicon. Abrupt climate change came next and referred to a change in global average temperature over a span of hundreds or thousands of years. Relatively recently, climate emergency and climate catastrophe have been used to describe the dire straits in which humans and other organisms are entrenched. Swedish professor Svante Argenius is commonly credited with writing the first peer-reviewed paper on the topic of global warming, with his paper on the influence of carbonic acid in the air upon the temperature of the ground. This paper was published in Philosophical Magazine and Journal of Science in the spring of 1896. Arrhenius was awarded a Nobel Prize in Chemistry in 1903, and he integrated chemistry, physics, and mathematics throughout his distinguished career. Nonetheless, his work on atmospheric carbon dioxide was largely forgotten until the 1930s, when Guy Callendar emerged on the scene. Now, Guy Callendar probably pronounced his name Guy, but he's not allowed to correct me, so I'm going to pronounce it correctly. Guy Callendar. Callendar was a steam engineer and inventor, as well as the son of Hugh Longbourn Callendar, distinguished professor of physics at Imperial College London. He was interested in meteorology and, despite being an amateur in the field, was well known for his work by professionals. He knew about Arrhenius's work, and he wanted to test the Swedish man's models with data. Callendar set about compiling data from the World Weather Records, a series of volumes published by the Smithsonian Institution. Based on 147 meteorological stations around the world, he calculated a global increase in land temperature of about 0.3 degrees C between 1880 and the late 1930s. He linked this increase in global average temperature to a 6% rise in atmospheric CO2 between 1880 and 1935. This increase in CO2 was consistent with burning 150,000 million tons of fossil fuels. He concluded that about 3/4 of that CO2 remained in the atmosphere and served as the basis for planetary warming. It is important to note that neither Arrhenius nor Callendar foresaw an existential threat arising from an overheated planet. Rather, they and their contemporaries imagined societal benefits from a warmed planet. This opinion is matched by many of today's physicists and engineers who see only minor disruptions resulting from an overheated planet. It is important to understand that most of these physicists and engineers are not familiar with the concept of habitat and its importance in foreseeing threats to our continued existence on Earth. We know much more about climate change than we did in the 1930s. Even the very conservative Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, admits Earth is in the midst of abrupt, irreversible climate change, as I've reported on this channel before. Many so-called tipping points have been reported in the peer-reviewed literature. Humans currently inhabit the warmest Earth since at least the Eemian period, which ended about 115,000 years ago, long before civilizations arose on Earth. In other words, we inhabit the warmest planet in the history of civilization. There are a variety of means by which we can quickly warm the already overheated planet even further, the rapidity of which poses a substantial existential threat. Does this mean terms such as climate emergency and climate catastrophe are relevant? Are people using these terms simply to gain attention for themselves, or do we actually face a climate emergency? In my well-studied opinion, we face a major existential threat. Due to the rapid rate of change in our wake as we exit the planetary stage, and also because nuclear facilities will implode upon our departure, the existential threat we face extends to all life on Earth. I've reported on all of these phenomena earlier on this channel. The climate emergency is real. In other words, all life on this planet faces a climate catastrophe. For many individual humans, and also for many species, the threat is already causing the worst possible result. There remains only one way I know about to stabilize or cool the planet in a durable fashion. The mirror reflection framework, which I've discussed previously in this space, offers a framework that can be employed quickly to account for aerosol masking and greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. It is not only about physical mirrors. Rather, the framework will require minor changes in the way we live and may require sacrifices from some of us. I suspect the potential for future sacrifices is the dominant feature of the mirror reflection framework, scaring away the masses, and in particular, scaring away the 1%, the billionaires. The question remains, would you rather have a few more weeks, months, or years of living large without considering the impacts on future generations? Or would you rather retain life on Earth? The stakes couldn't be higher. Please join me in supporting the mirror reflection framework at mirrorreflection.com. Please like, subscribe, and share this video. Click the bell when you subscribe so you'll be notified about future videos. Become a member of this channel for additional perks at as little as 99 cents per month. Mostly, though, thanks for watching.